So after getting off the phone with Xantricor, Philippa is not entirely sure what the correct next steps should be, since there seems to be very little information available about any of the people involved. So, what she does is takes the photos that Marcy had sent her of the modeling shoot that Gabby had worked on as her last project with Janelle Carter. And since that also has a photo of Amanda Wilson, who she was trying to track down as well, hoping she might be able to provide more information about Gabby, she's going to upload those photos to the LAPD database, basically requesting that anyone who recognizes anyone in the photos or has any information about any of them come speak with her. And after doing so, crossing her fingers that somebody knows something, she's just gonna go back to trying to scour any database or anything for information that is usable.
Richard will obviously see the images through and recognize one of them, and he will call you.
Hello?
Richard K. You put some images through, and I need to discuss them with you.
All right. Good, good. Well, we can talk over the phone, or you're free to walk over to my desk. I can't imagine you're very far away. And she'll hang up.
A couple minutes later, Richard approaches.
You said you recognized something from the images I put through?
Yeah. Do you have a computer?
Yep. And she'll pull them up.
He'll point to one of the images. That one right there. A couple weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, we had a Jane Doe.
Her?
Yeah, that one. He'll point.
Oh, that doesn't bode well for me. I was hoping I could speak with her. Well, I can help you at least. That's no Jane Doe. You are looking at Amanda Wilson. I was hoping she would be a witness in my murder investigation, but it seems I was hoping too much.
Consensus is she was high, and she passed out and drowned herself in a puddle. Face first, directly in.
In a puddle.
Yeah.
Huh.
I can't say I agree with that one, but somebody wanted to file the work in and just get home that day.
Okay, well, 4 weeks ago, a letter that said it was from her was sent to a company declining their job offer. They thought it was a little odd, because the paper it was on was stationery from her last place of employment. In a sense, she, well, you can see here, did some modeling for Janelle Carter, a bit of a fashion house. I don't get it myself, but they make expensive things.
Then why the hell would she be high in the back alley?
Don't know. She and Gabby Huss, that's my murder victim, they both did some work for Janelle Carter, and they were friends, so I only found out that Amanda Wilson might know something when I was checking out the apartment of Gabby and found a letter she started writing to Amanda asking where she'd gone, why she didn't tell her she had a new job. Called the company she said her friend went to work for, and they did hire her, but then they got that letter saying she was declining their offer. Now, how she sent a letter a couple weeks after drowning in a puddle, I'll leave that up to you.
Well, at least we have a name for the face.
Gabby, We found her in a block of ice. She might have drowned too, but I'm gonna say it wasn't in a puddle.
I mean, I'm not fully convinced this is a puddle either.
Something I'd be curious to know. Well, she she got checked out in the morgue. There was water in her lungs. Were they able to analyze that at all?
Yeah. There was a high level of salt.
Salt. Hmm. See, Gabby, she was frozen in a block of ice, and that water was purified water, but not tap water and not from a river or ocean. What I was told. I was wondering if it was a similar source, but I didn't hear anything about salt, so maybe not. Strange. Well, there does seem to be a connection. You interested in merging the two, or do you work alone?
I don't mind either, whatever gets me home at the end of the day.
A man after my own heart. All right, well, probably easier to pool resources. I've been to Janelle Carter, talked to a couple people. Don't think they're very fond of me. You could try seeing them about Amanda, but if it's anything like when I asked about Gabby, they won't have much. I've been to Gabby's apartment. I don't know where Amanda was living. If you can find that out, that could be an avenue to pursue. Yeah, I found myself at a bit of a dead end, if I'm being honest.
Seems for both of us, this has only raised questions.
Hmm.
Well, let's see what I can do. I can hopefully get an address.
Okay, strange question, possibly, for you. Amanda, any odd tattoos?
Now that you mention it, she did. I think it was barcode as well. No one bothered to scan it.
Strange. Well, other than being friends, the only thing I know they had in common was having worked for Janelle Carter. Don't think they routinely tattoo their employees, although can't say I understand fashion.
Not my place to judge.
The question is why, and that is something I could not figure out. Why would she potentially want people to think she was a replicant? I don't know.
Were there signs it was done post-mortem?
No. It didn't seem that fresh.
That's is quite strange.
Hmm.
Richard will go back to his desk and come back a little bit later. I have some good news for you. I have an address.
All right, well, I'd say we go look around then, as I haven't been able to come up with any other leads.
I'll grab my coat.
All right, we're off to an apartment. So, Inspector K, are you driving or am I?
I don't mind.
After you, then.
He will lead the way.
She will follow him to whatever spinner he uses.
Below, the city is alive with advertisements, a landscape of neon dreams. The farther from the city centre, the ads become less colourful, fewer, and then none at all. The lights are on sporadically, and the dull grey buildings are illuminated through a dusty mist.
Should be that one just up ahead.
Alright, let's go see what we can find.
The street was littered with the dead. Oh, they were still breathing, but the life had gone from their eyes, and when they moved it was an unsteady shuffle, not sure where they were going, or where they had been.
Richard will continue going then.
Yep. Philippa will also head to the apartment. What's the unit?
Should be 7th floor, 3rd down.
Alright. The elevator's over here. So, looks like we can just head up. And she will walk over and press the button for the elevator.
It grinds and rumbles and comes to a stop, and it opens. It is a simple wooden and metal design. The carpet on the floor is well torn.
It's like a very pleasant place.
Well, there's lots like it. Especially around here.
Richard will start to look around.
You have a long corridor. There appear to be as many people as they can possibly cram into this structure as they can. It is not hard to find the front door, which is locked.
I had to break the door in a little bit to get into Gabby's apartment. If you're not up for that, we can try and find someone to unlock it, but I'll let you know I didn't have any luck with that in a similar sort of a building.
No, not in these parts. You don't work with the cops unless you have to here.
Well then, do you want to do the honors?
He will kick the door down.
Give me a roll.
Strength, force, 1 success.
Okay.
He will walk up to it and then step back a little bit and give it a very strong kick. It flies open.
As it flies open, you are hit by a strong smell of rotted food.
Well, I don't think anyone's been back here for a while.
The air feels warm, stale, and uncirculated. The stench of the rotting food hangs heavily in the room. It is a cookie-cutter design that both of you have seen many times before. The bed is unmade, and you can see fashion magazines are scattered across a table.
Richard would like to start to look around.
And Philippa's gonna go look at what's scattered on the table.
You can also give me a roll.
Alright.
Intelligence observation?
I would say probably yes.
2 success.
2 success.
You find a photo of a pair of girls. One of them is definitely Amanda. They are hugging and holding drinks, and it is on the mantel. There are a mix of very pretty girls and finely dressed people. Many of the younger girls are talking with older people. You can give me a connections roll.
1 success.
So for you, you recognise that some of the people are involved in city politics and the business council. They are all definitely older than the girls. While they are not on the level of Tyrell, they are important in local politics. And you can see the girls are wearing bracelets over where the tattoos would be.
I got something.
Same here. What'd you find?
It appears she was very close to somebody. I don't know if you recognize the other face here.
Philippa will have a look at. Yes, that would be the girl we found in a block of ice. That's Gabby Huss.
It appears she was involved with the local politicians. Look at these guys.
Huh.
Be living in a place like this, but hanging out with that?
Well, I don't know who this letter was written by. It isn't signed. But it appears somebody liked Amanda enough to give her some pearls, which I'm assuming you did not find on the body, and also seems to believe she was a replicant. And Philippa will hand over a note that she found on the table.
Is this some sort of secret admirer?
I don't know, but whoever it is can't have known her that well if he thought she was a replicant.
Interesting that it didn't phase them, though.
You might be surprised. There's all kinds out there. Some are very into that kind of thing. Well, anyone who could afford to give her pearls, even lab created, could be one of the people in the picture you found.
And you can give me a connections roll now.
1 success. And Philippa is going to tap the photograph, highlighting the section where there is a girl, not really in the forefront of the picture, sort of off to the back and one side. Her. She's dead too. Couple months ago, came in as a Jane Doe. I don't know if she's been identified. Wasn't my case.
Richard will look at the picture for a minute. I do recognize her. I don't think we ever got an ID. The body did have a high level of narcotics in it. OD, we don't know if it was intentional or not. Don't know if it was suspicious. Though the body did have some freezer burnt marks as if it was stored.
Frozen. Alright, Amanda, you said they thought she was high. This body had narcotics, and Gabby... They said they thought it was alcohol or a sedative in her system. So all of them drugged. 2 of them frozen. And more than one, at least possibly, drowned?
This one wasn't completely frozen, but it's still very suspicious. Looks like an MO.
Can't say I like the sound of that very much. Okay, a couple months ago for the Jane Doe we still don't have a name of. 5 or 6 weeks, you said, for Amanda, and just the other day for Gabby, so if it is the same person, if they stick to that pattern, we wouldn't have to worry about finding another body for a little while, but can't say for sure. Someone rich had a party. The only connection we have so far for all 3 is whatever this party in the picture is, but I mean, you're right, some of the guests are recognizable. I doubt they'd really be open to speaking about it. We can try.
I would like to take them out and look at the back of the photos, see if there's anything.
There's a small inscription that says, "Great night, girlfriend."
He will put the photo back in.
Sometimes parties like this, they might hire models or something to attend to make it, I don't know, more aesthetically pleasing. The thing is, we know 2 of these girls were models for a fashion house, but I don't know that they worked through a agency or anything to get that gig. They just both worked for them. If they did have an agency, I'd say we talk to them, but I haven't seen anything about that. We could talk to the fashion house again, but they didn't have much to tell me.
I mean, it looks like they had a more personal connection. Photo in the apartment, her and her friend.
Gabby and Amanda were close. Yep.
This whole thing is weird.
Mm.
I don't know. Sounds like the fashion house is our best bet, but not a very good one.
No. Last time I talked to them, they mostly said they don't keep a lot of records on their freelancers, and they couldn't tell me much of anything. My presence seemed to annoy them. Not that that matters much. And I guess we'll head back to the spinner and then back to Janelle Carter.
You get a call on the way.
Since Richard is driving, Philippa will answer.
Hello, this is William Prefect from Police HQ. I'm in the analytics department. We were looking into that fashion house you were interested in.
Yes?
It's doing quite well. Quite well, in fact. But on careful examination, it isn't from the sale of clothes. There is some money coming in from other holdings, but that does not explain the difference. We feel that the income is listed and taxed as personal appearances and promotion. The income levels, though, are for models that are far more successful. I did some research there to see what levels of payment is acceptable for different levels of model, and they're not known as well as some of the others that you would see on the magazine covers. She, as in Miss Carter, does have some other holdings in transport, a fish food farm, and some retail outlets. Currently, most of them are not operating.
How odd. Well, I can certainly tell you they're not paying their models that well. We've been to a couple of their apartments now. Not very nice.
I see.
You said you're in analytics, right?
Yes, I am.
How's that, what was his name? Gunn. What's he up to?
Yes. Quite insufferable, really. He has now, as he puts it, been in the field. He just won't stop going on about it.
I'm sure he won't. Anyway, I interrupted you. My apologies.
I hope that information would be useful for you.
I'm sure we can find a use for it, thank you.
He hangs up.
Alright. Well, that's certainly something.
Quite the colorful character, isn't he?
So they're not making money from clothes. Well, not making that much money from clothes, and it seems they are a sort of modeling agency. Although, I wouldn't say a very reputable one if they're not paying those they represent very well.
And all your employees keep disappearing.
I wouldn't recommend them as a workplace myself, no. So perhaps we can ask some questions about that. Now, I don't think there's anything strictly illegal about a fashion house having models make appearances, not if that's all they're doing, but it is odd, and if we push the matter, we might find out there is more. We might not, but we shall see what happens. At the very least, we've doubled the police presence there to annoy them, so perhaps they'll take it a little more seriously. And I guess we'll continue to the fashion house.
And ahead you can see the large, multi-tiered structure that is the poor apartments on the bottom, the mid-tier businesses in the middle, and the penthouse levels at the top.
Alright, ready to go deal with the rich and insufferable?
Can one ever be ready?
I'll let you know when I find out. And Philippa will head into the building.
The elevator opens to barely controlled mayhem. Bustling workers go back and forth, carrying unorganised sheets of paper and wearing frowns as they try to make order from the chaos.
Then Philippa's gonna try and flag down the nearest bustling person. Just anyone.
They sort of turn. Yes, what? Who are you?
LAPD, what are you doing?
Trying to work out where all the invoices are for things.
And why are you doing that in such a panic?
Because nothing's been organised or done, and things are meant to be happening this weekend, and Marcy is nowhere to be found.
How unfortunate. Where would Miss Carter be?
I don't know, upstairs somewhere. She's been on the phone all day trying to work out where things... We're not even sure where the event's meant to take place.
So Marcy does everything around here?
He was the PA.
Do you work with the models at all?
Only in a fringe sort of way. I mean, I see them sometimes and that, but I mean, not up close and personal.
Noticed any of them going missing?
All the time. It's a transitory kind of business. They come and they think they're going to become supermodels or into the vids and the holovids and that, and when it doesn't happen or it doesn't happen fast enough, they just don't come back, don't take jobs. It's the way it is. I expect music is similar.
But it would be a surprise to you to hear that at least 3 of them had ended up dead.
Well, yeah, why would they end up dead just because they didn't become models? That would be very strange.
That's what we're trying to figure out. Kay, got any questions for... Sorry, who are you?
I'm Gwen.
Any questions for Gwen, or shall we allow her to continue running around like a chicken without a head?
Let her go. I believe our business was the owner.
Godspeed on your quest for invoices, Gwen.
Thank you. And she hurries off at like a Olympic walk. She's not running, but she's definitely walking as fast as she can.
Well, that's interesting. The assistant is gone. Alright, I suppose we go talk to Miss Carter. She'll be thrilled.
Most certainly.
And Philippa will start heading upstairs.
And there's people on the phone, there's people going through books. No one seems to pay you any heed. They're all flustered and bustling.
The amount of chaos caused by one person not showing up for work. Alright, and seeing as there's clearly no proper order for things anymore, if there's an office for Miss Carter, Philippa's just gonna walk in.
She's on the phone and she sees you and she's like,
One moment.
and she holds it against her chest.
This is not a great time. What is it that I can help you with?
Well, hopefully, 3 murders.
Why on earth would you think I could help you with 3 murders? We are a respectable business.
Yes, and 3 of your employees are dead.
Find that hard to believe?
Oh, would you like to come down to the morgue?
I most certainly would not. It's filled with dead people.
Well, then you'll have to take my word for it, won't you? So, business doing well these days? And I don't mean today. I can see the chaos.
Business could always be better, but it is not terrible. We are more than holding our own.
Not selling many clothes, though.
We're doing quite well. It's a difficult industry for sure. You have to do a lot of promotion. It's the kind of industry that if they forget you, then you're gone. You've got to keep in their minds constantly.
From what I hear, most of your income is from appearances.
Oh, no, that would not make sense. Most of our sales come from sales. The promotions, they bring in some, but they're really there only to raise awareness of the brand.
That's not what your financial records say, Miss Carter. Unless you're accusing whoever your accountants may be of fraud, your business claims most of your income stream to be appearances. Clothing sales made up a very small percentage.
That makes absolutely no sense.
You can give me an empathy roll if you want.
Okay, yeah, try and judge if she's lying through her teeth or legitimately confused. 1 success.
You don't think she's lying.
2 success.
You really don't think she's lying.
Well, as I can see that you apparently know very little about the running of your business, it would be lovely if we were able to speak to Marcy. Now, I'm sure you feel the same way, and I'm assuming you've not been able to track her down, otherwise none of this would be happening, but let's see if the police can do a better job of that, shall we? Do you have an address for her?
She rolls her eyes
When we need her the most, she's nowhere to be found.
and she opens her desk and scribbles down an address and tears it off and hands it over to you.
And she'll take it and say, something else that confused me slightly. You also own shares in transportation and a fish food farm?
I obtained them in the divorce.
And they're not a current stream of revenue?
He had some interest. He thought it could possibly be next way of feeding the populace. So he invested in that and also in transportation to transport said fish. Oh, that rival to Tyrell is, I think, going to definitely corner the market on the food. Some of the retail establishments we have open selling our clothes and other things. I haven't sold them off. There's still real estate that we own. And at some point in the future, we were going to examine if there was any money in it, or possibly approach one of the rivals and see if we could either make some money through the fish farm or sell it off to them, but we haven't done any of that at the moment.
Now, I'm curious, and you may not know much about that side of the business. What kind of water do you use in a fish farm?
Honestly, I had no interest at all in farming, agriculture.
Very well. Thank you, Miss Carter. And I hope your day becomes more organized. And with an address in hand, Philippa's gonna turn and leave.
Kay will follow.
You said Amanda, they thought she drowned in a puddle.
Well, yes. I believe she got high, must have passed out or something, fell straight head first into the puddle.
In a back alley, you said?
In a back alley. It sounds stupid.
Trafficked often, or would it be a place people don't go much?
The only people going down that alley are not the savory types.
Well, I don't mean to get elementary school on you, but Gabby in a block of ice. Ice melts. What if it didn't start out as a puddle?
It was raining that day. The puddle makes sense, but I get your point.
Just a thought. Anyway, I suppose we'd best go see if we can't find Marcy. I rather doubt she'll be at her place of residence, because if it were that easy, I'm sure one of them would have managed to track her down by now, but we'd best do our due diligence. All right.
Joseph Miller will know more about the specifics. We will spin our way there.
Yep. We'll spin.
And it is a nicer part of town. Middle class. There's more vehicles on the street. There's lots of people moving around. Street vendors.
Well, she certainly makes more than the models. Let's go see if she's home.
Okay, we'll head there.
And Philippa will head to the 4th floor. Okay, she's gonna knock first.
No answer.
All right, now, here's the question. This apartment, a little nicer, might be able to find someone to unlock the door for us. Do we want to go that route, or just...
She cares so goddamn much she can choose the apartment.
All right, is he kicking the door down then?
He will kick the door down.
Okay.
And he'll adjust his foot a little to be closer to the lock, and he will do it again, and it flies open. Not as extravagant.
Guess places like this can afford better doors. Either she's not home or she's hiding, but we might as well have a look around. And Philippa's gonna go have a look around.
You can give me a roll.
I will do so.
Richard will also.
There we go. 2 success.
1 success. Wow, with 2d12, 1 success.
You find 2 books, as in journals. They are both complicated and appear to be versions of accounting. For Richard, you find that the transport business is being sold, and the fish farm was slated to be sold but was removed from the market.
Looks like Marcy's doing most, at least, of the accounting, and I guess not telling her boss where most of the money comes from. Because I didn't really think that Janelle Carter was lying.
Hey, we'll answer his communicator. No, it's all good. No, just some troubles. Alright. Apparently, we need to operate with more discretion next time.
Oh, says who?
A supervisor.
She kind of waves her hand and says, yeah, they say that, but it's not like they'd fire us. Sometimes I wish they'd fire me. I'm not that lucky. Find anything?
Looks like stuff related to all the other businesses here. Stuff about the fish farm is in there.
That's strange. Well, it looks like the transport business is being sold. The fish farm was going to be, but then got pulled off the market, so guess they changed their minds, which, well, it's a little strange because it didn't sound like Janelle Carter was particularly interested in expanding into the fish farming business, so why decide not to sell it after all?
It's a question for Our Lady.
Who isn't here? If you're referring to Marcy, who it seems like makes all the actual business decisions.
Yes, that's who I was talking about.
Well, she's not here. She's not at work. What kind of water do you think they use in a fish farm?
Depend on the fish.
Guess we don't know what kind of fish.
I feel like if there would be saltwater fish, they would use saltwater, or if they're...
They got an address for that fish farm in the records you found?
Yep.
Well, Unless you've got any better ideas for tracking down Marcy, I want to test a theory.
Go right ahead.
Well, then let's go to the fish farm,
We will follow you out of the apartment.
leaving the now slightly broken door, which was very subtly done, clearly. Alright. I don't think it's that far, but I don't know. It's an industrial part of town, probably not that populated. And unless anyone else calls to let us know of something else we should be doing, I guess we'll go to a fish farm.
What was once a successful industrial estate has fallen on harder times. Of the 100 businesses present, only about 12 appear to be operating, with sad streetlights that struggle to even illuminate the area's failure. Only a handful of traffic is driving through.
Alright, I'm going to be the first to admit here. I don't know what to expect in a potentially abandoned fish farm, so be cautious, I guess.
Hay will open his trench coat a little to reveal his holster.
Alright. And Philippa is gonna look for a door.
As you are walking across the street to the building, you hear RK himself as I live and breathe.
Got a friend there, Kay?
She's about 45, 50. She's wearing high heels and a fake fur coat, and she is walking down the street. Brings your illustrious self out here.
What do you think? It's nothing pleasant.
She nods, an understanding.
Well, are you gonna introduce us, Kay?
That is Mary.
And she holds her hand out to be shaken, arm down.
Alright, and Philippa will, with a sort of grin, take her hand and shake it.
A pleasure, I'm sure.
Nice to meet you. You don't happen to know anything about fish farms, do you?
And she shakes her head. Sorry, honey. Not my line of work.
All good. That building right there. Know anything about it?
Hasn't really been active. Not for a long time. But it's still every now and again.
Yeah? Interesting.
I don't come over here that often. You know, not as many tricks. But occasionally, some of the fellas coming off the late shifts, you can pick up some company.
Alright. Well, thank you.
You weren't usually looking into fraud or industrial stuff, Mr. K?
Not normally, but a little bit of both here.
Let's just say there can be some overlap between crimes. You know how it is.
I surely do. Not the safest, my line of work.
No, be careful.
Always am.
Good to hear. Seen anyone go in there recently?
No, not recently. You hear the machinery every now and again.
It's running, isn't it?
Well, not every day. But then again, I wouldn't know. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't come by here every day, but a lot of times when I come by, it isn't. But sometimes you could hear the machinery.
Good to know that it's running at all. Helpful.
No, this is asking a lot of you, but you remember any of the license plates?
No, I never looked at that sort of stuff. I didn't know I had to, you know.
Don't worry, you don't. Well, we'd better go have a look.
See you around.
Okay, Toots. And she wanders off happily down the street.
If you see her around, treat her fair. She tips us off to some things. We let her do her business, shall we say.
Don't worry, I'm hardly the strictest cop in LA. Business not being run, supposed to be sold, isn't sold. Still running? Sporadically running? I don't know if one can sporadically fish farm. Again.
Not my line of business.
Isn't that just the theme of the day? Well, we're not gonna learn anything standing out here. Alright, Philippa's gonna go try any door she can find.
They are locked, but they do not look difficult to enter.
So, do you want to violate the promise to go about things more subtly, or shall I?
Well, as much as I'm tempted to say you, because that means I don't have to get a write-up, I do enjoy.
Kicking indoors?
Yeah,
Then who am I to deny you the pleasure?
it's always the SWAT boys get to do it.
So, the factory is dim, its sign is barely visible. It is faded and forgotten. No lights shine from within, and only the faint, uninterested light touches the building from without. You can see that there are several doors, both main and service.
Oh, you got your pick of doors.
Service or main, what are we feeling? Maybe we both could kick a door and take both doors.
Tell you what, if you can't kick a door in, I'll try the other one.
Kay will walk up to the main door and give it a kick. 1 success.
It is a metal and glass door. How do you do it?
Well, then Kay will just walk up and kick the glass in.
And Philippa's gonna sort of scan the street after that to see if anyone's gonna run over and question what on earth they're doing. And if no one does, and she doesn't have to be all, we're the police, ignore us, then she will head inside.
The area feels cold, and your breath mists in front of your face. It is far colder in the facility than it is outside.
Freezing in here.
Cold enough to freeze someone into a block of ice, do you think?
I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but honestly, could be.
Alright, let's have a look around. Careful, because from your friend out there, we know there have been people in here operating machines. Seems pretty quiet, but
It is very quiet. You can see this is a very much an industrial warehouse kind of building. It's about 6 stories tall. It is dark. The lights are not on. You can hear the hum of the air conditioning. There is several large vats of water. You can see some say salt water, some say fresh water. You can see a packing area, and on the other side you can see a ice section.
Hey, it looks like we are both right.
And there's an office at the end, probably 3 or 4 stories worth of offices. And the rest is sort of concrete, and then there's metal steps and walkways and catwalks, and you can see that there's a way to the roof at the top.
I have to say, this is looking promising. In terms of location, anyway, I suppose the question remains who and why. With her flashlight in one hand, and she's gonna draw her weapon with the other because, I don't know, this might be a murder site. Philippa wants to go look at the sort of ice section.
Give me a observation roll.
Okay.
I would like to inspect the not ice.
Alright, now I got 1 success.
2 successes.
Nice.
This place is kept in well condition, or being abandoned.
Now, she's the Peter gun, but she will, rather than simply picking it up, get an evidence bag out and sort of pick it up in the bag so as to not get her own fingerprints on it. And she'll walk back over to Kay and hold up the bag. This was over with the ice.
Looks just like the one from the picture.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
Perhaps somebody did put a giant block of ice in the back alley.
That I couldn't say for sure, but someone did leave a large block of ice somewhere more recently. Whether or not Amanda was frozen, you said she drowned in salt water, right?
Correct.
I'd say this is a pretty strong contender for a crime scene.
High salt for rain, but considering the area, it wasn't that suspicious. If it was a block of ice, though, I'm surprised no one found it before.
Could have seen it and decided to walk away. You said yourself earlier, most people don't really want to work with the police, so maybe they decided it was someone else's problem.
Even that, though. Giant block of ice with the body in it, that's gotta be interesting. And yet we didn't hear anything about it.
Interesting or terrifying, depending on who you are.
Is there any other rooms?
There is an office that we didn't go into yet. Looks like there's an office over there. And there's stairs heading up, but looks like they lead to sort of a series of walkways and maybe the roof eventually, but I don't know if there's anything else up there. Guess we should check the office.
Okay, we'll follow.
Yep. And Philippa will attempt to open the office door. Then she will open it and have a look inside from the doorway before entering.
Your torchlight moves over the interior. It looks largely dusty and uninterrupted.
If there's dust, she's gonna shine the light down to the floor to see if there's any footprints in it. Doesn't look like anyone's been in here in a while.
Are there, like, filing cabinet?
Yep.
I would like to start going through them.
You slide them open. They are empty.
Oh. Is there anything that looks out of place?
Not that you can tell. It looks pretty abandoned overall, apart from the fact that elements of it clearly are not, but not in the office. A pink light that is trying to shine through the upper dirt-covered windows, valiantly trying to force its way through the grime into the interior. Something shining high up on the outside it is.
Seeing as there's nothing else immediately grabbing attention in here, Philippa's gonna look for the closest set of stairs and start heading up.
And you can get to the door to the roof. It is unlocked.
Okay, same thing. She's gonna swing it open, but look before dashing out onto the rooftop.
And the roof is bathed in a really bright pink light. You can see what might be an 8-story tall, beautiful, naked woman with blue hair, and her eyes, though, are solid black. Standing on the ledge of the building is Marcy. She's not moving at all, just her hair is drifting gently in the breeze. The huge, naked woman leans in and is looking at her from only a few feet away. And she says, "Hello, gorgeous. What a day. You look lonely. I can fix that. You look like a good Jane."
Philippa's looking behind her to see if Richard also came up.
Richard is behind you.
Okay. He's gonna sort of inwardly sigh because talking people off of ledges is in no way her specialty. And she's gonna start slowly walking over towards where Marcy is. Not like trying to sneak up on her, not trying to be unnoticed, but just not rushing her either.
He will follow behind you, cautiously.
And does Marcy show any sign of noticing us at all?
Yes, because the advertisement is not exactly good for people stealthing, because it leans...
We weren't really trying.
It leans sort of to the side and is looking at you. It doesn't say anything this time, but it is looking at you, which alerts her to the fact that someone is there. And she seems very calm as she turns and looks at you. And she says, "You've ruined everything. The business was failing. It's healthy now. The girls were making good money. Far more than modelling. More than they would ever get. They were all transitory. But it's over now. All over now." And she folds her arms across her chest and starts to topple backwards, like a queen on a chessboard.
Philippa's gonna try and dart forward and grab her.
Give me a roll!
Yeah, I will. I assume I have to. 1 success.
So he hesitates for a moment as Philippa does grab hold of the coat of Marcy. She's wearing quite a thick coat because it was cold inside. The pendulum sort of swing of Marcy is hard to hold on to, and it does pull Philippa over the edge with her, but she is able to hook her arm over the edge, and there's a thump as she hits the side of the building. She's holding on with one hand, and with the other she has Marcy, who is now dangling over the edge. The advertisement seems slightly amused at this, not really sure what to make of it. It is a very low-grade AI.
Okay.
The second you started going over, he would have ran over.
Yep, give me a roll.
I would say strength, force, or stamina, but they're both the same, so.
So either way.
And not succeed. It's just too heavy with both of them. He can't help her up. The best he can do is hold her there. So they're not falling more, but they're not coming up.
Hey, I got 1 success. So Philippa is definitely struggling to hang on to Marcy with just one arm, but is just gritting her teeth and trying very hard, and is somehow managing to keep the section of coat she's holding from slipping out of her fingers, and is internally extremely grateful that at least Marcy is not fighting and trying to fall, because if she did, she would.
Kay would like to attempt to pull her up again. 1 success. So he will lean over. He will use his other hand to grab kind of the back, not your neck, but the back of your shirt, and slowly pull you back up.
Alright, and once she is able to kind of roll herself over onto the roof itself, she will also assist in hauling Marcy up over the edge.
She rolls and stops. She seems somewhat comatose. You don't think it is chemical or anything like that. It's just maybe her brain has shut down somewhat.
Fuck.
I agree.
And the advertisement looks at you and it smiles and says, "What a day." And fades. The pink light goes and much of the roof is now back in darkness.
I cannot say I was expecting that.
Kay will reach into his trench coat and take out a cigarette and light it.
Philippa's looking at Marcy. Is she showing any sign of... Like, is she unconscious, or is she...
Basically. It's like shock. Shut down in a severe sort of case of shock. It's not chemical, it's not like anything mechanical. It's just... She had gotten to the point of no return.
Yeah.
The ultimate stress points had gone, and when she... Then the extra stress of trying to commit suicide was enough to sort of just... Her brain just went, no, too much. We're just gonna go away for a while. We'll come back later.
Well, I don't know if any of that counts as a confession, but I guess she's going to be under arrest, and maybe we can call in some backup, unless you want to haul her down and take her back in your spinner.
I can go do that. Keep an eye on her. Kay will start walking down the stairs. You hear the metal clank.
The Blade Runner RPG is released by Free League Publishing. Starring Emily as Philippa, SPG as Kay, and Ghost as the storyteller. Music and sounds provided by Sirenscape an epidemic sound. You can find us at kritfayle.com.